Hi everyone! Today we are going to learn about the 7 elements of art. These are the basic pieces or principles that you will find in any piece of artwork that you ever create or that anyone else has ever created. We are going to learn about line, shape, color, value, texture, space, and form. If you want to, you can take notes while you watch the video, or you can just go back and watch it again. It's up to you. Line is the most basic element of art. It is a path of a mark moving across a surface. It can be used in a variety of ways. Some artists show their lines more than others, and some artists use nothing but line to express their shape, texture, value, space, and form. As you can see in these two, the artist only used line, and the way that he moved them on the paper shows us the form that he's trying to imply. A shape has 2 dimensions represented as an enclosed area. There are 2 categories of shapes. Geometric shapes are more precise and regular, like squares, rectangles, and triangles. Organic shapes are irregular and typically come from nature, such as leaves, flowers, or clouds. Shapes that grow, flow, and move. Color is what we see because of reflective light. Light contains different wavelengths of energy that our eyes and brain see as different colors. Colors have 3 basic properties. We're going to learn about hue, value, and intensity. Hue is the word that refers to colors names like red, blue-green, and yellow. Value refers to the lightness or darkness of a hue, like dark red or light red. And lastly, intensity refers to its purity. Red is more intense than orange, and orange is more intense than yellow-orange. On the left, you can see that we have these vibrant, bright colors. On the right, we have some bright colors, but then if you look in the background as well as the hair, you'll see a lot of dull colors. This was created by combining 2 opposite complementary colors and mixing them together. Value refers to the relative lightness and darkness of an object, including light, medium, and dark values. Values can create a wide variety of contrast. The use of value in 2D art often implies a 3-dimensionality. Value is what helps us see and understand how things are shaped. Texture is how something feels or looks like it feels. There are 3 different ways to look at texture. We have actual texture, which comes from real materials used in a piece of artwork. Implied texture, which is the illusion of the real texture, like in a drawing or painting. And invented texture, which is created by the artist from their imagination. Space is the creation of visual perspective. This represents a volume of space or 3-dimensional object on a flat surface. Space is the illusion of depth, the distance around, between, above, below, and within an object or group of objects. This is a pretty crazy picture that was created by M.C. Escher that really makes you look at where the space is going and where it's coming from. Has 3 dimensions represented as enclosed volume. Forms are shapes with 3 dimensions such as cubes, pyramids, or cylinders. Sculpture is the most obvious example of a form. Architecture is another example of form. And organic random shapes can also represent form. This is a mural called Garden of Delight. It was painted by a local Philadelphia artist, David Gwynn. This is in Center City, Philadelphia, and a great example of a piece of artwork that has evidence of all 7 elements. If we look at this and think about his use of line, we can see a lot of evidence. He has a lot of rhythmic lines, not only going around the garden and up into the tree, but also if you follow them on the outside, they're framing the entire mural around that building. Now I zoomed in to talk about shape, color, and texture so we can look a little bit closer. If we're thinking about shape, on the right side, we are looking more at organic shapes, ones that look like they come from nature. They are flowing and they look like they are moving. On the left side, however, which is the back of the mural, this looks like straight lines and angles, which is like our geometric shapes. Another way that the artist created contrast was his use of color. In the garden, he has these vibrant, lively colors. And then in the background, he has very dull, light colors that don't draw your attention quite as much. The third thing that he did to create a lot of contrast was his use of texture. He was able to really create a huge amount of texture in this garden. If we look at all the layers between the rhythmic lines and the grass and the flowers and the plants, there's all kinds of things going on and we can tell what's going on, even in the tree as well. But in the back, there isn't much texture at all, if any. They have really smooth appearances on the buildings, and again, that's because they're farther away. When we look at this piece of artwork and we're looking at value, we can see a couple different things. We can see value changes within the tree. We can see value changes in the door back here. And we can also see that there are much darker values in the front of the piece and lighter values in the back of the piece. The second thing we can look at in this angle is form. If you look at the tree, that is the one place that he really attempted to make it look like an actual form. If you look at the actual trunks of the two trees, we have the one side that has the highlight where the light is getting to it, and then as it wraps around, it gets to that shadow. On the top of the tree, we have the same thing. The leaves on the left side are much lighter, but as it wraps to the back of the tree, we have the shadows and we have those darker, more muted colors. When we look here at space, he did a really great job of making everything in the front or in the foreground very large. As we go back in space, he's getting everything, including the buildings, to be much smaller. He also has these very clear lines that are going back in space, which creates that illusion of depth. Now that we've gone over and introduced all 7 elements of art, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, or you can even do your own research. Now you want to click on the PowerPoint that will go over your 3 different project options for the week.